your girl, Reverend Dr. Nicole B. Simpson, and today I come to you not as the CEO of Harvest Wealth Financial. I'm not as pastor of Micah 7 Ministries. I come to you today as a World Trade Center survivor. I was on the 73rd floor of 2 World Trade Center, and I'm so grateful that I'm here today to tell the story. It is standing on business because one of the things that I've dealt with is helping people recover from financial trauma. Being on the 73rd floor, I have to start by saying I received the prophetic word on Sunday, September 9th, where the prophet of the house, and I always tell this story, Prophet Beryl Epps, said that I was going to go through something, and the Lord wanted to know if I could hear his still quiet voice. Little did I know, 48 hours later, she said, he's going to tell me when to go, when to stay, and when to go again. Said I was going to go through something, but I was going to be blessed tremendously. On that morning, Tower 1 was hit. Being in Tower 2, the lights flickered off and on. The building swayed while I was on the 73rd floor in a meeting with my assistant and my intern. Spirit of the Lord, as I walked over to my partner's office and looked out the window, told me to go. I walked back, told my assistants, who I had just told them we weren't going anywhere because what was happening did not impact us. I said, let's go. Stopped by, the receptionist was a believer, and I said, the Lord told me to go. She picked up her stuff, and she walked out with us. We were one of the first to leave Morgan Stanley, 73rd floor. We began walking down the steps, and as we walked down the steps, they kept saying, Tower 2 is secure, Tower 2 is secure, you don't have to evacuate the building, Tower 2 is secure. And I found solace in that. And so I was literally on my way back upstairs. I had made it to the 44th floor, and that's the common walkway where you can either go upstairs or you can go downstairs. I get on the elevator, and the Spirit of the Lord tells me to stay. So before the elevator doors can close, I get off the elevator, everybody still comes with me, the doors close. Not even 90 seconds later, Tower 2 is hit. The elevators come crashing down. Fire explodes out of the elevator doors. People alongside of me are being literally burned alive. But the door that I was standing in front of did not open. And just when I thought it couldn't get any more chaotic, the Lord told me to go again. And I made my way down. I went down further into the, where the, what was it? It was the Strawberries and the Brooks Brothers and the Disney store to come up out of 5 World Trade Center. And that's where the Krispy Kremes was, and I believe it was, I think of Brooks Brothers or something. It was one of the stores there. And I walked, and I remember the Lord saying as I'm walking to Broadway, don't look back lest you should surely die. When I felt the release to turn around, I see an airplane hanging out of the building that I was in front of. I saw people that day that were not destined to survive because they were above the airplane. And flames were so prevalent because the day was beautiful. It was election day, and you knew that they weren't going to be able to get out of the building. I tell you what happened because the Lord then ushered me and told me to get further away from it. And as I walked further away from it, Tower 2 came crashing down first, and then Tower 1. My life that day moving forward was always forever altered. But how I started doing what I do in business didn't happen there. Went over to my partner's house. She resided in Battery Park City, a very wealthy community, if you know anything about New York City. As we were there at Battery Park City, there were security personnel and police officers evacuating the residents of Battery Park City. Now, I had just come from World Trade Center, and I didn't see any of these people. But they gave us an option to go to Staten Island or to Jersey City. I chose Jersey City because that's where I grew up at. And so if I could get to Jersey City, I could get home. What did I learn that day? I learned that the wealthy had a plan in place for the unknown and the inevitable, but they were going to be able to survive. I also recognized that day that we didn't. And if I were going to be the best financial planner that I could be, I needed to not only worry about myself financially, but I needed to deal with individuals that look like you and I. And so my commitment to this work started on September 11th, 2001. 10 years plus in the business at that time, a newly minted CFP practitioner from the year of 2000, which, by the way, my 25th year anniversary is coming up in that regard, October. And so I wanted to pour who I am into us. It was a long and arduous task. My own personal recovery was one that, for somebody that was making six figures at the tender age of 30, I was making over $100,000. I went down to less than $20,000. I represent an individual that had a house, 2 young children, a spouse at the time, white picket fence, the mortgage, the cars, all of the things that a young working family would have. What happens when you lose it all and you are incapable of going to work? I found out thereafter, through going through the Zadroga Act, through going through World Trade Center's compensation, and all of the support that they offered to us, that I was deemed permanently, partially disabled as a result of the injuries that I suffered. Asthma, COPD, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, other things that I thank God for. If anybody ever heard this, by the grace of God, I am healed, saved, delivered, set free in my body, the whole nine. And I just keep pressing forward, even though these impediments have been labeled upon me. So yes, I don't tell people to recover from financial trauma not having walked this walk. Yes, I have a level of expertise in this area, but I've had to apply everything that I'm telling you to my own life so that I could be standing here with you today. Next week, we'll get back to financial trauma and the likes of where it is that we were standing. But I promise God that if He had spared my life every year, I would share my story. And so I'm grateful that you listened today. But I am so happy, 24 years later, happy birthday to me. If anything I ever said has compelled you in any way, like, subscribe, share, tell people that we're breaking free from financial trauma together as we're standing on business, making sure that if we have a 9/11 personal experience in our lives, we do know how to recover. Not just recover. I believe in thriving, even in uncertainty. God bless you.
0, 1.